Okay, it's now officially 6:30.
That was that letter from before. It was just in your mailbox.
We need to call the meeting to order. You
I grabbed it in
okay,
case you
Nicole?
wanted to take a look at it.
Okay. Call the meeting to order at 6:30.
You were writing it.
And let's stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Jan Gaffney?
Here.
Tim Holcomb?
Here.
Allison McFadden Kiesling?
Here.
Nancy Moon?
Here.
Alan Panter?
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy?
Here.
Maggie Sands?
Here.
Julie Meredith here.
Oh, we're all here. Wonderful. We need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who disagree, please say nay. Motion carried. Call to the public. Oh, we have no public. Okay.
You're enjoying that beautiful day. Yes.
With the high air quality numbers. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All that disapprove, please say aye. Motion carried. Friends of the report? Friends of the report. Friends of the library. Sorry, Jim.
Friends of the Library have available funds of $30,890 as of our July meeting, our meeting July 10th. Volunteer name tags have been ordered. These are small name tags from the library director's report that we will have. The intent is to have all volunteers wearing a tag on their person when they're volunteering inside the building, so we know who's supposed to be here and who's not supposed to be here. Implementation, I believe, is this fall sometime. The Friends and Library Organization have an agreement that a third party should evaluate and make recommendations on the overall organization of back storage room. This means in this meeting we've been having within the Friends as far as organization of the books and book storage and so forth. So that's moving forward. And last, the next book sale is a children's only book sale. It's July 28th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Thank you, I agree. We need to do something with the back room. Julie, the library statistics?
You have your statistical report in front of you. We saw a little bit of a drop in visitors, but circulation is up. Computer users are up. Downloads are up, as that has been the case. The adult programming is way up, so congratulations to the adult department for bringing in more programming and more people. Any questions about the statistics?
Only that it's a 6,000 total visitor drop year to year. Do you have any sense of what's? I know the download would explain a little bit.
I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I'm not sure.
I wonder if at some point, I mean, these numbers are so valuable for us understanding how the library is being used, but understanding, if we see month-over-month changes, from year-over-year, month-over-month, if we find a different way to understand how people want to use the library differently or are, so we can prepare as we go forward.
I think that's a good idea. One of the things that we're looking into doing as we work on some of these projects in the fall in the strategic plan is to put in some tracking pieces in the building so we can see what parts of the building are being used, so we can see when are people at circulation, when are people at information, when are they using the various meeting rooms. So we have a better sense of not just how many are here, but what they're sort of doing while they're here.
Where are they?
Yep.
And that's the part that's, I think, the missing piece.
Yep.
We can do it from other pieces. We know about the programming and whatever, and we can kind of start to blend those together. We used to do more of that kind of work. During the pandemic, we saw so much change, it was really hard to do those comparative kinds of things. And I think we're getting now to a point where it's stable, and we could start to do some of those compilations where you could make inferences based on certain things.
Look at the trends over time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or
Well,
comments?
only that even though the total number of visitors was down considerably over last year, the circulation is still very, very good, which I think is still a really good sign.
I agree. I don't think it's an unhealthy sign. I think it's a changing pattern sign.
Right, I
And
agree. I
we just got
think
to figure
that's
out how to
probably-
serve.
I would be way more concerned if circulations took a drop that big, like, what are we not doing?
The one pattern, and I did not check, so it's a good thing that you asked, because now I'll think to ask about this. And April, May is when we do all our field trips. And I believe we did all of the field trips in May this year, and last year we did some of them in April.
Oh.
So I'm wondering, I'm going to go back and look at those numbers now that you say that, because that would have been a stream of kids coming in. And if we did some of them in May, that would have thrown those numbers off. So let me inquire about that. Good question.
Anyone else? Thank you. Now the library director's report.
Okay. So in the We Are a Community Collaborator section, the Clarkson Farm and Garden Club will be hosting their annual garden walk on Wednesday, July 16th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. CIDL is the starting point of the walk, where attendees pick up their map and can visit the market of artists selling their wares before traveling around town to visit 6 beautifully tended gardens. This garden club fundraiser supports projects throughout the community, including the planters in downtown Clarkston and all of the flower gardens here at the library. Also on Wednesday, July 16th, busy day, CIDL is partnering with the Independence Township Parks and Recreation to host Sensory Splash at Clintonwood Spray Park. This is a morning of free splash pad fun, including special water-based sensory tables to provide an inclusive environment for individuals of any age with sensory challenges that may find the usual spray park activities overwhelming. So we're excited to be offering that with Clintonwood Park. The Friends of the Library, as Jim pointed out, will be hosting their children's book sale on Monday, July 28th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This will take place the same day as the Family Magic Show featuring Cameron Zavara, who is one of the popular magicians that we try to bring in, if not every year, every other year. He's very popular. And that's also sponsored by the Friends of the Library, which Jim did not mention. We are a go-to place for learning and resources. This summer, CIDL is hosting its 3rd annual 3D printed derby. Patrons are invited to create their own 3D printed cars for a derby track competition. Participants ages 12 and up meet 4 times on June 20th, June 27th, July 11th, and July 18th to learn to design and create their cars using the library's 3D printer in preparation for a Pinewood Derby-style race day on Saturday, August 23rd. It makes for great pictures. It's a lot of fun to watch. And the library team that hosts this is building a new track this year. So I'm excited to see what the new track looks like. I've heard lots about it. Next, the Innovations Librarian, the Teen Librarian, and the Head of Marketing and Engagement have teamed up with Independence Television to produce a series of short videos to teach library users strategic borrowing practices for Libby and Hoopla. These 2 library services provide an array of e-content from books, audiobooks, movies, music, TV shows, etc., and function in very different ways. By learning the ins and outs of how these services work, our patrons can become power users, making the most of what the library has to offer. The final video in the series is currently in production, and the series should be released through the library's various communication methods early next month, and I was informed that they will probably be bringing them to show them off to you at your meeting next month.
Oh, good. Oh, cool.
So. We are a vital organization. The library's safety committee and leadership team have been working on a project to create a more secure work environment. This includes discussing improvements to the building that will secure the staff entrance while allowing delivery drivers to request and be admitted as needed. We will also have all staff, board, friends, and volunteers wear name tags, as Jim alluded to, while in the library, so we are able to assure that we know who the people are that are in the staff areas. We anticipate bringing the details of these changes to the board at the August meeting and distributing name badges in early September. And then last, library board trustee terms of office are 3 years. The current board term is January 1, 2023 to December 31, 2025. 5 library board members are appointed by the Board of Independence Township, and 2 library board members are appointed by the City Council of Clarkston. The process is as follows. In August, the current library board members indicate if they are interested in being reappointed and fill out forms to indicate this intention. August and September, residents not currently on the board who are interested in a position are encouraged to apply. Applicants must be a resident of the municipality in which they are applying for appointment. October 13th, 2025 Library Board meeting. The Library Board reviews the applicants and provides a recommendation to each municipality regarding the candidates that they would hope to see appointed. November, December, the Independence Township Board and the City Council of Clarkston each appoint their Library Board members, and then the new term of office is January 1, 2026 through December 31 of 2028. Any questions about that? Okay. So I will email out that form for those of you, and if you would like to fill that out if you're interested in remaining on the board.
Thank you. I believe a regular, I can't read today. We're now ready for regular business, the 2024 audit presentation.
Okay, if I'm over here, can everybody see me okay? Well, thank you everyone for having me. My name is Eileen Tomlinson, and I brought Danielle Backer with me from our East Lansing office. Danielle was the audit associate that helped complete the audit for 2024. So I'm here to present the audited financial statements, and then there were 2 loose leaf letters that were also issued in conjunction with the audit. So my plan is just to kind of go through, highlight some of the pertinent financial information. So if there's any questions, feel free to interrupt me at any time. But before I get started, big thank you to Julie and Nicole for all of their help. We certainly appreciate all of your hard work. We were here for a day of on-site field work and thought things went well. So thank you very much for all of your help. So with that said, we'll start with the bound copy of the financial statements. And we'll start on page 1, which is titled the Independent Auditor's Report. So these first couple of pages really just describe what the purpose of an audit is. And that is for us as your auditors to issue an opinion on the fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. An audit is not designed to detect fraud, and we don't issue an opinion on the internal controls of the library. But that being said, a very significant component of our audit procedures is going through and documenting all of the internal control procedures that are in place. So we go through and we document everything from how your bank reconciliations are performed, to payroll being run, checks being cut, disbursements being made, and then we'll actually select a handful of each type of those transactions and then walk them through all of those processes and procedures. If we had any findings or recommendations, if maybe there was some documentation that was missing or didn't have the right reviewer, approval sign-offs, things like that, if we had any of those findings, we would have issued those as a management comment to your management letter. No such findings. Everything we looked at was adequately supported, though again, we don't look at 100% of your transactions. We do take a sample and then we can, infer from there. So overall, very clean. Everything that we looked at was in great shape. So really the most important paragraph is right at the top of that first page. It's titled the opinion paragraph. And for the year ended December 31, 2024, the library is receiving an unmodified or clean opinion that is the best that you can attain. So it's what you want to see, and it's also what the state of Michigan looks like once your financials are uploaded to Treasury's website. So, and no changes from 2023. So again, clean opinion last year, and clean opinion this year. From there, we'll turn to page 9, which is your general fund balance sheet. So the balance sheet found here on page 9 lays out the assets, liabilities, and deferred inflows of resources, as well as fund balances for the library's sole general fund as of 12/31/2024. And I like to describe this statement as a picture in time. So what financial resources, followed by obligations, resulting in fund balance, did we have on hand as of 12/31/2024? And the focus on this statement, because it is presented on the modified basis of accounting, is you're not going to see any of the long-term activity of the library. So you won't have your compensated absences or your fixed asset activity, the focus is only on the general fund itself. Those long-term activities are not recorded within the general fund. So a couple of things that we look at, the first being the ratio of total assets to total liabilities, indicates really a very healthy balance sheet as of 12/31, about $5.6 million in total assets compared to about $122,000 in liabilities. So if the library were to have closed its doors as of 12/31, you would not have had any issues paying off those financial obligations with the resources that you had on hand. And just a couple of metrics comparative to 2023. Prior year total assets about 5.1 million, so added about $500,000 in assets in 2024. And then we had a combo of 2.6 million, your total liabilities and total outflows of resources in 23. So about a $200,000 increase there in 2024, overall quite consistent. And then additionally, we noted that just your cash component makes up approximately 33% of your total assets. So also quite liquid as of 12/31. So then the following remaining activity is the breakdown of fund balance. At 12/31, fund balance totaled approximately $2.8 million, with roughly $553,000 being unassigned or what's available to cover expenditures in future periods. Roughly $78,000 is in that non-spendable category, meaning it's already been earmarked for specific 2025 expenditures. And then we have about $2.2 million in that assigned for capital projects and building maintenance. So that's a specific purpose assignment. And a general recommendation is to have an amount that is in that unassigned category that represents between 15 and 20% of your annual operating expenditures. And what that represents is the library being able to run for a period of time, still being able to pay your normal operating costs should you run into any revenue collection issues. So let's say there was a delay receiving your property taxes from either the city or the township, you're still able to pay your employees, keep your lights on. For 2024, the library was at 23.2%, so you're just over that recommended threshold, and that's an increase of 3% from 2023. You were at 20.2% in the prior year. So again, very consistent year to year. If there's no questions on that, we'll actually turn to page 13. We'll go over the notes for the financial statements first. So again, notes start on page 13. I'm not going to go over all of them individually, but do want to point out just a couple of changes from the previous fiscal year audit. So if you turn to page, so note number 2 on page 18. So this is your deposits and investments notes. So new in 2024, we have some investments. So that got previously recorded in cash is now separated out to your investment. We have some U.S. Treasury bills. Those are again disclosed on page 19. Had a fair value of just over $1 million in 2024. And then as we flip through note 2 to the financial statements, you'll see this note has also been expanded where we document the fair value measurement on page 20. And that also details the breakdown between the portion that is cash, about $1.8 million at 12/31/2024, and then those non-current investments of just over $1 million this year. Then just a minor change on page 21, which is your long-term obligations. So the only long-term liability applicable to the library are your compensated absences. we implemented GASB 101 in the current year. So really the main change with that was it expanded what is considered compensated absences. So that liability also includes the taxable portion on that. Because the amount was not material to the financials in 2024, we did not have to restate your beginning balances. We were able to just run that change through the net change. So if you remember last year, that footnote had beginning balances followed by additions, deletions, and then the ending. The pronouncement has allowed us to just net those together, resulting in this the net change for the year. And so if you flip to page 23, that actually discloses note number 8, the change in accounting principle. So again, new for 2024, GASB 101 just expanded what could potentially be included in that liability. So this note disclosure is simply stating that yes, we've evaluated and we've implemented the standard. However, it really had no significant impact on the financials to the library. And then the last note is note number 9. This discloses the upcoming accounting pronouncements. So effective for the current fiscal year is number 102 regarding certain risk disclosures. So as we get closer to your fiscal year, we'll evaluate and determine whether or not this will have a significant impact on the financials. And if not, we'll have a similar note disclosure to note number 8 that says, yes, we've evaluated, however, it's not applicable to us. And then there are 2 note disclosures that are effective for 2026. So again, as we get closer to that fiscal year, we'll evaluate and determine implementation is necessary. Then the last statement to look at is on page 26. This is the library's budgetary comparison schedule. So this outlines the original budget that is adopted by the board, followed by your final budget, so after any and all amendments are made during the fiscal year, followed by your actual revenues and expenditures for the period under audit. And then we also show the variance comparing your actual to your final numbers. So total revenues for the year, just over $2.7 million. It was about $165,000 more than what you anticipated receiving. Compared to the previous fiscal year, 2023 revenues were at $2.43 million. And we saw really very consistent between state aid, FEMA fines. Unfortunately, those line items are kind of flatlining from the state. We don't really expect to see many increases in those areas. But where we did see the most significant swings was in property taxes. Those increased about $242,000 compared to 2023. So as the taxable values rise, so does the amount of revenue that the library is receiving. And we also had about $77,000 more in interest and rent income, and that was due to the market performance of those investments in 2024. Then looking at total expenditures for the year, we came in at $2.3 million, so about $267,000 less than what you anticipated spending. And really overall, very consistent to the previous year. Expenditures actually decreased from 2023 by about $15,000. So very minimal change from 23 to 24. Where we did see a couple significant swings. One was in the repairs and maintenance. That decreased about $50,000 in 24 compared to 23. And then that was offset by an increase in professional service and contracted services. That was about $25,000 more in 24 than it was in 23. So the results of which was an increase to fund balance of about $384,000 in the current year. So it took us from about $2.4 million total to that $2.8 million. And that was a very significant increase from last year, when we only recognized an increase of about $46,000. So did significantly about $340,000 in additions in the current year compared to the prior year. So really overall, very, very healthy audit, very healthy from both an income statement and a balance sheet side. So then the last couple of items to talk about are just those 2 letters that were issued with the audit. The first one, they look very similar. So the first one, the very first paragraph starts with, in planning and performing our audit. So this is the management letter that was issued this year. We had just one comment for a material journal entry. There was one adjustment that was just more than what we could say is considered immaterial, and we're passing on communicating that. I would say this is a very common finding, especially for a lot of the libraries that Danielle and I work on. So really nothing as a board that you should be concerned about. And then the last letter is just our final board communication letter. This has not changed in the last several years. It's just a standard boilerplate letter that we are required to distribute to board members at the conclusion of the audit. A couple things that this discloses. Number 1, it talks about the addition of note number 8. So implementing GASB 101 in the current year. And then it also discloses the significant estimates that go into preparing your financial statement. Those are found toward the bottom of that first page. So for the calculation of the current versus non-current component of your compensated absences, as well as the calculation for depreciation expense. So because that's based on an estimate of all of the useful lives of all of your fixed assets, we have that disclosed here as well. So that's really everything that I had. Again, very consistent, clean, and I think a great year 2024 compared to 2023.
Thank you. Anybody have questions, comments?
Congratulations for some really clean books.
And,
As expected, but still nice.
thank you, Nicole, because I know you do a lot of keeping everything together and organized. We really appreciate it.
She does the heavy lifting when it comes to supporting the auditors and getting all that work done. So thank you, Eiley.
Thank you very much for having us, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could add one thing.
Yes.
So I checked with Eiley on this material weakness that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
And this has to do with what we talked about, that where we noticed that the tax revenue was short,
Mm-hmm.
and the late tax payment that we received, that we never recorded the receivable for that. So that's what they caught.
Okay.
And that's what that adjustment was. So the township would get us our money on a timely basis. We might avoid these things.
Yes.
And Julie, I told Alan this too, but if that happens again, we're getting close to your 2025 audit, and we're already halfway into this fiscal year, just reach out to us and let us know, and then we can hopefully maybe reach out to the township sooner and kind of, maybe push them to get you what you need, since it's what we need for the audit.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
That would be very helpful.
They don't always listen to us, but we try.
Well, they obviously don't listen to me. So.
Sometimes, though, coming from an outside agency, it's the same thing that happens if my lawyer calls somebody instead of me calling somebody when I have an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you again for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Safe travels back to East Lansing.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve the library audit as presented.
Moved.
I will second it.
Okay, thank you.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the library audit as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who disapprove, please say nay. Motion carried. Now we'll go on to the updated circulation policy and damaged and lost material recovery policy.
Do you want me to go over the summary, Chris, or did you want to just go over the whole thing? Okay.
It's not that long. Evening, everyone. So what we are doing here is TLN has asked the standalone libraries to match the fact that they are increasing the amount of items that non-residents can borrow, non-residents who are not necessarily in the shared system. So keeping in line with that recent borrowing limit increase, Julie and I both agreed that CIDL should follow suit and increase limits for non-resident TLN card holders. This does not include the My Library card users. They're a different classification. This change would coincide with the addition of video games to the collection, which are coming soon. And the following increases would be Springfield Township residents would go up to 30 items. TLN member library residents, including Troy, also 30 items. And no change to the My Library card. So if you look at patron eligibility policy, that's where I highlighted those two changes. And then the only other thing that this would affect would be the fees policy. Since we are increasing the number of DVDs that borrowers can take out, I did highlight those as well for juvenile, series, and adult. It's all basically the same. And video games will be 2 per card for 1 week at a time. And as far as the damaged and lost material recovery charges, when I really went over it, the only minor change I felt needed to be made, since if you look at the first item, it already covers most items that are lost or damaged, will be the cost of the item plus the $2 processing fee. So really the only thing I felt needed to be added was in the second column, lost and damaged containers, video games that are returned with damaged cases would be a $3 charge, and video games returned without cases would be a $10 charge, which is pretty much the same thing as the DVD charges as they stand right now. So what I am requesting is an approval of the circulation policy and the damaged and lost material recovery charges policy as presented.
Sounds very clear.
Thank you.
But I'd like to ask a question not related to my support, but to my curiosity. The city of Troy has this special sort of category. How have they arranged their lending that requires them to be different?
Back and forth with TLN membership. So we always sort of separate them out just in case they change again, because they just seem to
Go back
I don't
and forth.
know what goes on over there, but whatever it is, they sort of spring back and forth.
Okay.
And so that's the original language that I didn't change.
Okay.
Where we separated Troy from the other TLN libraries just in case.
They're not a TLN library.
Yeah.
They're in Suburban Library Cooperative, which is in Macomb County. Why they're the only Oakland County library that is in that other cooperative, we don't know. But we actually have a separate reciprocal borrowing agreement with them so that we can treat them the same. And it basically is identical to the TLN reciprocal borrowing agreement, but we signed it separately with them. So
Perfect. Thank you for.
The only thing I can assume is that because of their proximity to towns like Sterling Heights.
Right, that's what I think
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, maybe they just thought that made more sense.
it was probably a decision that was made 30 years ago, and nobody remembers why.
Well, back then,
And it
that
works
long
now.
ago, it would have been even more of an impact. They would have been
Yeah.
geographically really almost more a part of that
Yeah.
community than the northern Oakland County communities. Even
In theory, they
even
are
if you look
today
at like
still.
Royal Oak, they're kind of even now kind of off to the side.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. Just out of curiosity, maybe you explained it and I missed it, but the video game return without a case is $10, but the DVD return without a case is $8. And the CD return without a case is $8. Why $10 for the video game? Just curious. Is it a more expensive case?
Yeah, they're just a more expensive item.
Okay, I figured there must be a reason. I just was curious.
And $10 is kind of the magic number when it comes to blocking an account as well.
Okay.
Not as, I mean, we have tons of DVD cases and CD cases,
But not,
but not tons of video
Thank
game
you.
cases at this point.
thank you. I'm not a video game player, so I didn't know. Thank you.
Now that we're going to have a collection, maybe you'll decide you want to try.
That's true.
Just a thought.
Any additional questions or comments? Could I have a motion to approve the updated circulation policy and damaged and lost material recovery policy as presented?
So moved. Second.
A motion has been made to approve the updated circulation policy and damaged and lost material recovery policy as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who disapprove, please say nay. Motion has carried. Okay, now we are on to budget adjustments.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Crystal clear?
Crystal clear, Chris.
Yes.
Accept that nickname.
All right. So the request for budget adjustments to assign some undesignated revenue. While the ultimate goal is to assess the library's entire space and look at the possibility of expanding the building, the library staff is looking at some ways to maximize the space we currently have. To that end, we are retiring some means of storage that are original to the 1992 building, flipper doors, old filing cabinets, etc., and replacing them with some simple, flexible shelving that can be used in a multitude of ways, even as the building evolves. In addition, it is time to retire task chairs that are also original to the building that do not provide appropriate ergonomic features like easy height adjustment and proper back support. We would like to replace these with task chairs that match other chairs in the building that are more recent purchases, such as the business center and the conference room, allowing us the flexibility to regroup chairs as needed for larger and smaller groups, as well as to assign chairs to staff that provide appropriate ergonomics. To that end, we are requesting a budget adjustment of $10,000 from undesignated revenue to 975 building to accommodate these purchases. Also, last year, we designated an additional $10,000 to the marketing team to provide additional PR and design funding as part of the strategic planning process. When the 2025 budget was written, we were unsure how much of that funding might still be needed, so we dialed back that budget to a previous amount with a plan to assess and ask for it later if needed. The head of marketing and engagement has continued incorporating some of last year's successful PR improvements, such as the expanded Explore magazine and the customized signage. We are requesting a budget adjustment of $10,000 from undesignated revenue to 801 professional contract services, matching the funding that she had last year for these expenses. After the June meeting, there was $49,242 remaining in undesignated revenue that could be adjusted into that budget to accommodate these projects.
Really wish you would have hauled in a 1992 chair or filing cabinet as a display unit.
I could do so if you like. We do have, the interesting thing is they were nice quality chairs when we bought them.
Yes.
Herman Miller, nice chairs, but they're the kind that to adjust the height, you wind them like a piano, like an old-fashioned piano bench. And over the course of time, they wind themselves down, and it's quite time-consuming to rewind them up. Now, that was fine when all of the staff was short, but we've been hiring taller people, and they hate these chairs.
Funny.
So, yeah, some of the shorter staff does actually like them, but not very many.
For over 30 years, things have changed.
We have gotten, we get our money's
Ergonomically, they're going to
worth.
be much better.
Yes, we do get our money's worth out of anything that we purchase for the library, so. Anyway.
Any other comments about chairs or shelving? Well, it's nice to see that we're updating some of the 1992 components of the library. They've been well used over the years.
There are fewer and fewer of them, fortunately. We have been working on that over time.
Well,
but
they
there's
actually serve their purpose well. I
Um,
mean, they've lasted
Indeed.
30 years.
Indeed.
That's pretty good.
Your depreciation schedule is really good.
Yeah.
Maybe we can transfer the remnants to the Historical Society.
We did have some beautiful oak chairs that we did turn over to the Historical Society when we retired those. We were worried about the structure of them because they were, I'm sure they were very sturdy when they were built, but they really needed to be refurbished if we were going to allow people to sit on them on a regular basis. So, yeah.
To that end, what will you do with the furniture you are getting rid of?
Depends on the condition. Some things that we may just have to discard. Things that are potentially in still usable condition. Usually what we do is we ask other libraries, other governmental entities if they would like them. So we are retiring some lateral files that will be going to the museum, which not for museum purposes, but because they match the other furniture that's in her space because it matches everything that's in our space. But we do, for like old footstools and things like that, we'll put them up on the library network, and libraries that are willing to come and pick them up can have them. Usually when they're this old, we don't try to sell them, we just try to find somebody that will take them. If they were newer, we would probably say they might have some value for selling, but most of these things are to the point where if you'd like to have them.
We'll take them for donation somewhere unless they are unsafe and can't be used.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Recycling.
Yes, to the best of our ability. Furniture is difficult to do that with, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Would anybody like one of these pieces of furniture?
For nostalgia?
Or an uncomfortable chair, I guess? May I have a motion to approve the additional $10,000 for the furniture and another $10,000 for the marketing team?
So moved. I'll second.
A motion has been made and approved to take an additional $10,000 from the undesignated revenue to 975 building to accommodate additional purchases, and an additional $10,000 to the marketing team to provide additional PR, giving us a total of $20,000 coming from the undesignated revenue that could be adjusted in the budget for these projects. All those to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who disapprove, please say nay. Motion has carried. And it is almost 7:15. Would we like to have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Everybody's ready to go home. A
lot of enthusiasm for that motion.
All those approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who disapprove, please say nay. Motion carried. Meeting is over.
Good meeting.